Welcome to Vijetha Study Circle. Today in this video we are going to discuss about the Chinese tracking vessel, that is the YUAN WANG-5. So in this video we are going to discuss about what is actually YUAN WANG-5 and why the vessel was docked at Hambantota Port, because recently the China government has taken a decision to dock its vessel at the Hambantota Port. So in this video we are going to learn what is actually a Hambantota Port and where it is located, and why the China is very interested to dock its vessel at the Hambantota Port, and why India and USA are opposed to this one. So in the international affairs matter, so we must learn why it is important for the China to dock its vessel at Hambantota Port and why India is having concerns related with its docking at Hambantota Port. So in the IR relations it is very important to know this content. So quickly get started our video. So first we are going to learn about what is actually a YUAN WANG-5. So the YUAN WANG-5 is a dual use ship. So it is a dual use ship with an ability to spy on the Indian military establishments in the area. That means Indian government is worrying it is having a spy nature, so the China government can spy the Indian military bases. That is actually our real worry of YUAN WANG-5. And this ship is actually described as the research and survey vessel by international shipping and analytical sites. So the majority of the international sites are specifying this as the research and survey vessel, but according to India media reports, this ship could be used as a space and satellite tracking vessel. So this vessel can track the space and the satellite areas of any nation. So it is actually locating at the Indian Ocean region, especially at the eastern coast of the Indian area. So we have a worry it may spy our nuclear power plants which are located at the east coast of the Tamil Nadu. So that is actually our worry. So if we really know what is actually this YUAN WANG, this is the YUAN WANG-5. And it is a third generation tracking ship of YUAN WANG series. In China actually developed the YUAN WANG series. Under that it is the third generation tracking ship, and it has the top of the line antennas and the electronic equipment. So this vessel contains the antennas and the electric equipment, so it has the capability to track even the missiles and the rockets. That means it can even track our missiles and it can even spy our rockets, so which is a dangerous for our security purpose, and it will threaten our security of the country. So India is worrying why the China is very interested to dock this vessel at the Hambantota Port. So it can oversee a distance of actually 750 kilometers. So it has the capacity to spy anything in the range of 750 kilometers. That means the India strategic activities on the eastern coast. So these can be spied by this YUAN WANG vessel, because the 750 kilometer radius is actually from the Hambantota Port. If we see the Kalpakam and the Kudankulam nuclear plants which are located at the Tamil Nadu east coast were actually comes under in this radius. That's why the Indian government is very worrying. So it is actually about the YUAN WANG-5. So let's see what are the other areas of concern here. The next, the YUAN WANG-5, if we see the specifications of YUAN WANG-5, it was built on the China's Jiangnan shipyard and entered into service in 2007. That means this one is in service since 2007, and it is a 222 meter long and 25.2 meter wide vessel, and these are the specifications of this vessel, and tracks transoceanic aerospace through state-of-art technology on board. So this is the structure of this Yuan Wang-5, and these are the important specifications to be remembered. And it last monitored the launch of China's Long March 5B rocket in the last month. So this is actually the specifications of Yuan Wang-5 vessel. So let's see why this vessel was docked at Hambantota Port. The Sri Lanka developed the southern port of Hambantota. Actually, if we observe, the Sri Lanka has this Hambantota Port at its southern area, and it has actually leased out this Hambantota Port for China nearly 99 years, which is a very long period, and it has given this one to the China for lease in the year 2017, and it is located 10 nautical miles from the global shipping route linking the Far East with the West. So the Hambantota Port have a important location base in the Indian Ocean region because it connect the East with the West. And port is the Sri Lanka's most diversified deep water port, and it offers several services for the shipping industry. And due to its location in the Indian Ocean rim, as we discussed earlier, it has actually 50% of world's maritime oil trading capacity. That means this port is having very much importance in the Indian Ocean region because it has the good trading capacity. The port has actually a potential in energy services trading. That's why the Hambantota Port is having the location importance in the Indian Ocean region. The Hambantota Port is, if we observe in the map, it is very close to Asian and European international shipping routes, and nearly 36,000 ships, including the oil tankers, use this route, and which saves about 3 days of sailing and the fuel. That means this location is very important for all the world, especially for the connection of the East with the West. And as we have seen on the slide, the 36,000 ships were actually traded in between of this Hambantota Port every year. So it actually saves the much of the time of the people in the form of the sailings and the energy saving scenario also. So it has a very strategic importance in the Indian Ocean region. Now, in 2016, the Sri Lankan government decided to privatize this port, especially the 80% of this port, for the purpose of raising the foreign exchanges. The Sri Lanka want to use this port for the commercial purpose. That's why it actually given this one for the privatization. We all know what is meant by privatization. So it has given this one for the lease purpose, and China has taken this port for the lease, and it has actually paid $1.12 billion to revive the port under a public-private partnership, and it has spent so much of huge amount for just to revive this port and use this for the economical gains. And during the first half of 2021, if we observe the statistics, the port has actually recorded the high volume of growth and so much of diversification even in the services. Already we have seen in the previous slides, it has importance in the trade related issues in the Indian Ocean region. Along with that, as the China has taken the initiative to revive the port further, so its importance has gained more in the world trading scenario. And the docking of this China vessel could be have a huge impact, especially on the Tamil Nadu coast, because the Hambantota Port is very near to our Tamil Nadu belt, and which has actually a coastal area of the 1076 kilometers. Our Tamil Nadu coastal area stretches 1076 kilometers. And India's two big strategic assets, those are the nuclear power plants, those are the Kalpakam, the Kudankulam. These two nuclear plants were actually located in this coastal belt. That's where actually we are seeing the pictures here, the Kalpakam and the Kudankulam. These are the major nuclear power plants which has the assets of India, and now the China got the opportunity to spy our nuclear power plants with the docking of this vessel at the Hambantota port. Actually, the Indian media also focused this one, and it has projected much about the why the India is worrying and concerning about this docking of vessel at the Hambantota port, because we have the nuclear power plants very near to that port in the eastern coast line. So let's see how the Hambantota port was located. As we see, the Hambantota port is a deep water port in the Sri Lanka, and it was opened on the November 18th, 2010, and it is the Sri Lanka's second largest port after the port of Colombo. In the Sri Lanka, we say the Hambantota port is the second largest port, and the first largest port is the port of Colombo. So if we observe the location, we are seeing here, this is the Hambantota port, and here if we observe the Hambantota port, it is actually the China, and we have the Strait of Malacca here, and if we see, we have the east coastline here, and the Sri Lanka Hambantota port is here. That means we have almost this Hambantota port is very near to our eastern coastal line, and the China, it has the Hainan Islands here, and it is having the Strait of Malacca here, and with the Strait of Malacca, it is actually launching a dockyard at the Hambantota port. This is actually a sea route where the vessel was actually passed, and how it was docked at the Hambantota port. So for your clarity, I kept the map here for your understanding. So let me repeat, this is the China Hainan Islands, and this is the Strait of Malacca, and this is the Sri Lankan Hambantota port, and which is in the region, and we have the Indian eastern coastline here. So this is how we have the Hambantota port location in the world map. After that, let's move further. Let's see why India and US are opposed to this one. Though the China is saying the YUAN WANG-5 is a research vessel, and it is actually saying it is a YUAN WANG series and equipped with the top line antennas and the electronic equipments. As we have earlier discussed, this vessel is specified with the antennas and the electronic equipment, and which can track the missiles and the rockets launched and also help in launching them. So earlier, the US ambassador to Sri Lanka also voiced concern about this ship arriving at the Hambantota port, but the Sri Lankan president, that is the Ranil Wickremesinghe, ignored the diplomatic worries here, and China says that the ship will remain docked there for the longer time period unless and it takes the further call. The Sri Lanka already, if we have seen, the Sri Lanka was facing the economical crisis, and we have seen the recent financial crisis of Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka really is in need of the help of the world support, and it is actually forced to tackle this geopolitical issue, because though India is actually raising a concern, because of the Sri Lankan economic crisis, it needs the support of the China. That's why it actually encouraged and neglected majority of the countries' worry also in the form of geopolitical scenario. Why the Sri Lanka was actually encouraging this one? Because of the economical crisis. If we see, the arrival of the ship comes at the time when the International Monetary Fund is yet to approve the bailout, because the Sri Lanka is suffering from the balance of payment crisis. We all know that one, because the balance of payment, whenever any country is having a balance of payment crisis, the IMF come forward to provide the loan. And now presently the Sri Lanka is having so much of worry in gaining its economical strength back, so it asked the IMF, that is the International Monetary Fund, to approve its bailout. And the Sri Lanka is looking at the Chinese government to make a positive announcement about Sri Lanka's request in the IMF. As we all know, the IMF give the importance to the nations according to their contribution in the IMF quota. As the China is having a bigger quota in the IMF, so if the China accept these proposals to bail out the loans of the Sri Lankan government, then it will benefit the Sri Lankan government. That's why it want to actually tilt towards the China, because it has the hope towards the IMF helping hand in the Sri Lankan economical crisis scenario. The Sri Lanka also requested the China to approve a bridge financing the deal to tide over the crisis until the IMF bailout funds arrives. That's why it is actually accepted this proposal of China of docking vessel at the Hambantota Port. If we even observe the relation between the Sri Lanka and the China actually given the larger loans to the Sri Lanka, and now the China role is very important to pull the Sri Lanka out of the debt trap, because if we see the statistics, majority of the debts, that is that nearly 10% of the debts the Sri Lanka has borrowed from the China. If the China having a very much of the good financial relation with the Sri Lanka, if the China can take a positive sign to give the excuse of this 10% of the loans to this Colombo, then it will actually helps the Sri Lanka to come out of this debt trap. That is also one of the reason why the Sri Lanka is in favor of the China to dock its vessel at the Hambantota Port. The move also upset the Indian government. Of course, the Indian government is having so much of concern here. So this move also upset the Indian government, as it helped Sri Lanka during the time of the crisis. And India also helped to the Sri Lanka. We have actually given nearly the $4 billion support through multiple lines of credit when it was actually facing a crisis. That's why now we are asking, when we have actually stretched our helping hand towards the Sri Lanka, then it also has to worry about our concern. But we are very much actually upset with the initiative taken by the Sri Lanka by neglecting all our diplomatic concerns, because India also has done the much of the help towards the Sri Lanka to bring the country out of this distress. So India is having so much of the concern towards this type of the docking of vessels at the Hambantota Port. So though we have having this type of the worries, but still the China has already docked its vessel at the Hambantota Port. So we have to see the further the geopolitical issues, how it gonna shape in the near future. So this is all about the video. Hope you have enjoyed the video, and thank you so much. See you in the next video.